red lights go on. And out they go, and it's an even start from the front row. Good start by Ben Abbott from the second row of the grid. Not such a good one from Declan McDonald as he gets up to speed. The car's heading down towards Clervaux Corner for the first time. It's the green car nosing ahead of Phil, like I've seen this site before. It's Tom Roach leading. Mike Comber's got through to second place. Not actually that good a start from Ben Short. He's dropped down to about fourth. There's one of them that's a bit sideways. That's Matthew Pennefather-Neal, who's got a couple of cars squeezed in between them, but I think they've all managed to escape any potential consequences of that. So it's Roach leading, Comber second, Abbott third, and Ben Short down to fourth. That makes things interesting.
And Mike Comber having a good go at the lead here into Tower Bend. He's looking to the outside of Tom Roach and behind Ben Short. Dives up the inside of Ben Abbott. Comber can't get the lead, but Short has a good go at getting third place here as they go through Tower. He gets himself alongside Ben Abbott, but they're going to be side by side as they head down towards the Jim Clark S's. The rest of the field flow their way down into Tower Corner. How great is it to see a full grid here at Croft?
Spectacular, it's fantastic, and all of those words. Up towards Barcroft they go then for the first time. 15-minute race. They're just beginning to spread out a little bit now and make a long line of MX-5s. There's Matthew Short, Ben's father, just trying to put a move on the number 47 car. Stephen Craig's there as they went into Sunny Corner, and he's someone that's always there and thereabouts. That's the number 78 car that's been off the road. That's Charlie Brisker, but he's briskly got back onto the circuit.
He has, which is good, so the race can continue. The leaders through the complex and into the hairpin for the first time, and Ben Short's trying to bridge the gap to the top two. It's Roach that leads Comber, then Short third, fourth is Abbott, and fifth is Ben Hansey. Then there's a small gap back to Declan McDonald, who's made a good start. He's gained a couple of places. He's ahead of Courtney Mills and Ian Tomlinson as they cross the line at the end of one lap of this 15-minute race then, and head down towards Clervaux. They're sideways as they turn their way through there, bouncing over the curb on the inside of the corner. And you can see the guys really working hard out there out over the curb. It's a very bumpy curb to be hitting, but I think most of them are happy to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. And on screen there you've got the number 94 car, which is that of Liam Cochrane, sometime member of the Alpha Live crew. Here are the leaders then. It's 125 leading, and that is Tom Roach. But he's got Mike Comber right behind him, number 71 in second position. Rest of this great field streaming through Tower Corner as well. There is the 67 car making its way through, which is David Abbott, another of the Abbott clan. Someone ahead has run wide. Was that Matthew Short? I think it may have been, that's been off the circuit. Here's Declan McDonald. Now he's in sixth at the moment. He's got Courtney Mills and Ian Tomlinson just behind him. This looks like it could build up into a good scrap.
Remember how Ben Short said Barcroft was easy flat? Well, Ian Tomlinson looked very crossed up through there, and he, I'm sure, found that a pretty exciting moment of the race. Courtney Mills went really well at Silverstone last year, where she got on the podium. She said she liked quick tracks, like Croft is here. The top three are getting away now: Roach, Comber, and Short, which I guess isn't a particular surprise. Mike Comber was telling me in the paddock this morning, which I think he relayed to Andy as well. He hasn't been riding on the new tyres this year so far. Now he's on the new tyres. To me, it looks like he's right back in the game.
Well, absolutely right, and it's sandwiched in between them, in between Ben Short in third place and Tom Roach in the lead. It is 3 cars for the lead and a gap back, I think, to Ben Abbott in fourth place, and Ben Hansey in fifth, and Declan McDonald sixth. But Ben Short on the first flying lap did the fastest lap of the race, a 1:40.38.
And we had an off through the complex for James McCann, but he has got back on the road.
Just to say, that Ben Short lap time is a lap record. There's one for the pit lane there. That's the 61 car of Jake Dormer. As now we've got Ben Short lining up a move on Mike Comber, possibly as they go down towards Tower Corner. Not quite close enough to make that work. There is Ben Abbott in fourth. He's got the champion Ben Hansey, champion for the past 2 years, right behind him, number 1, the Northampton driver. And then Declan McDonald in 43. In the championship winning car from the BRSCC Championship last year in 6th position, number 43, Declan McDonald. But look at this, Comber really looking a threat now to Tom Roach.
Absolutely, I said a moment ago, he seems to be back on time, but things is on the inside now. Comber's going for the lead through Sunny, through the right, second right-handed element. He had to just back out of that, which is going to let Ben Short challenge. He's coming in alongside him now as they come up to the complex at the end of the third lap. Then who's going to arrive in shot first? Well, it should be Tom Roach, but for second it's side by side, and Ben Short around the outside of the left-handed element gives him the right-hand element line on the inside as we go through. So Mike Comber, who almost looked looked like he was going to get the lead in, has actually lost a place.
He has, so he's got a bit of work to do now, and crucially that's given just about a length to Tom Roach. Now it's not a lot, and Short, who got the fastest lap of the race and a lap record on the previous lap, ought to be able to bridge that. Let's see if he does. 10 minutes still to go in this race. It's probably going to be another a 10-lapper, I would think, that we get from the Switch MX-5 Cup by 5 club. These are the 3 leaders then: Roach, Short and Comber. Ben Abbott still 4th, number 93. Ahead of the other Ben, the third of the Bens, Ben Hansey, in 5th position, and then Declan McDonnell still there in 6th. But here are the first 3, and they do noticeably look a bit more spread out than they were a lap or go out the chicane down the back straight towards Tower Corner. But as I look out my window, I can see actually that Ben Short is really quite close to the back of Tom Roach's car there as they turn their way through the right-hander at Tower that time. So Short has indeed bridged that gap, and Comber is the one that's now desperately trying to cling on.
Indeed, you could tell that toe that we heard from with Andy McEwen in the interviews prior to this race, how much of an effect it has. And Ben Short is right on the tail now of Tom Roach as they turn their way through Barcroft down into Sunny. This is where Comber had to go a lap ago. Ben Short thinks better of it. He saw what happened to Comber, where he had to go for the lead and actually lost a place. So Ben Short doesn't want to allow that to happen. He's had an eventful race, remember. He dropped down to as far as, I think, 4th or 5th on the first lap and has been clawing his way back through the order, and he's now in a place where he can challenge for the lead.
And he's down at the complex now. He's only about a quarter of a car length behind Roach. He won't try into the hairpin though. It's a possibility for an overtake, but doesn't always work out well when you do that. So Roach and Short and Comber, who's back on terms with those two as well, actually, up and across the line to complete lap number 4. And the gap covering the 3 of them, I will tell you in just a second. It's 0.6 of a second between all 3. Tom Roach is still there, although he's now not appearing on the timing tower. I can tell you, he's still there in the lead of the race, and it's very tight between those 3, as you can see, making their way out of Hawthorne towards the chicane, and then onto this back stretch towards the right-hander, tight right-hander at Tower. Short dives out of the slipstream now, goes to the left-hand side of Tom Roach, so this is the outside line for Tower Corner. He says there's a lot more grip here than there used to be, but he can't make use of it, and he might get through on the exit of the corner because the 2 of them are overlapping as they head towards Barcroft. And this is a flat-out part of the circuit through the Jim Clark S's and then Barcroft. And it looks like Short's going to do it. He's got Tom Roach there over the curb, and Ben Short has gone through. So the 2 teammates for this weekend swap places, and it's Ben Short, the championship leader, that goes through.
Absolutely brilliant, wasn't it? A moment ago, there was a change for 6th place because Courtney Mills got ahead of Declan McDonnell into the complex for 6th position, but we're concentrating this battle for the lead because it's absolutely epic. And we've still got half of the race to go. Down into the complex they come. This is the end of lap 5, and it's free for the lead. They are setting a blinding pace as well. They're 5 seconds ahead of anybody else, showing the experience that is up front here. They're pushing as hard as they can, and Comber's down the inside here, up over the curbs of Tom Roach. He couldn't make that work now, though, but now Short is out front. He's weaving about a little bit as well. Can he get away from these 2? We know he set the quickest lap. We know he's worked on the car since qualifying, and we know he's been overtaking people up to now, Ian.
Yeah, well, he's shown some very good form throughout this race. You mentioned Courtney Mills through to 6th place, and she's caught now the battle for 5th as well between Ben Hansey and Ben Abbott, and it is still Ben Abbott that's ahead of those 2.
On that lap, she's the quickest driver on the circuit. I know the top 3 are battling, but that was a very impressive lap from her to pull away from those behind and catch the 2 in front.
Yeah, Declan McDonnell still with Ian Tomlinson just behind him, and also Marcus Bailey in the 54 con. It's a gap back then to Jordan Johnson, the back end of the top 10, but the leaders together through Tower Corner, and Ben Short, although he's got ahead, Tom Roach hasn't let him get away.
Behind them, Ben Hansey got himself ahead of Ben Abbott. We're going to look at that now on the screens, coming down towards the Jim Clark S's. So it is Hansey, the double reigning champion, who's in front, but these 2 have been caught by Courtney Mills, as we said, quite rapidly on the last lap. Through into Barcroft they come then. So Hansey has got ahead of Ben Abbott. Can he get away? Well, early suggestions would be no, because Abbott tried to come around the outside, but he may lose a position here because Courtney Mills, who gained a place a couple of laps ago into into the complex through Sunny. It's just about getting into fifth as Abbott runs out wide onto the grass.
Yeah, he's back on the circuit now, but he's lost a position there to Courtney Milnes, who's having a very good race here, up into fifth position. She started sixth, but lost a little bit of ground at the beginning of the race, with Declan McDonald making quite a good getaway. So it's now Hansi fourth, Courtney Milnes, the Birkenhead driver, in fifth position, and Ben Abbott sixth. But Declan McDonald's come back into this because they've been delaying each other while having that battle. Meanwhile, up front, I can tell you, Ben Short now is getting away a little bit from Tom Roach. The gap out 0.6 of a second.
That much. That shows you how close this race has been, though, and it's Mike Comber that's putting Tom Roach under some pressure here. Roach was really fast in qualifying, but now we come to this race situation, and perhaps he's not quite got what he had, or trying to learn it again, because he said how long he's been out of this for. I don't think he's done really much racing over the last couple of years at all, and although he set that blinding qualifying pace, he isn't able to put that into where he was able to pull away, and in fact he's lost the lead and coming under pressure from Mike Comber, but he's not really that far away from the lead still, though, is he, with 4 minutes to go?
No, of course he has had experience in Ginettas and Porsches and so forth. In between times, we've got a car that has stopped at the hairpin, and we'll try and work out who that is. So that does mean there are yellow flags at the complex, so after the second apex of the complex, but it's then green before you turn into the hairpin. 4 minutes to go. Ben Shorter is leading from Tom Roach in second and Mike Comber in third position. That's the way of it then, as they are making their way around the back of the circuit. The yellow flags are going to go in. They've been replaced by a caution board, and that's just in time for the three leaders to arrive at the complex. Here they are. Short 71, 125 is Roach, and 58 is Comber. They are about 6 seconds ahead of number 1 Ben Hansi in fourth, treble 7 Courtney Milnes in fifth, and 93 Ben Abbott in sixth position. They're up and over the line to complete lap 7 with just about 3 minutes to go, so they will probably get actually 2 more laps out of this.
Should be Liam Cochrane, I think, that hasn't come through, because I think he's about the only one that didn't complete the last lap. And for second and third, down into Hawthorne now, are absolutely together. You couldn't fit much between their two bumpers there. Now they're going to catch a slower car through the chicane. This could be it could have been a vital moment, but I think Short was able to play that just about right. If he caught them in the middle of the chicane, the 51 car there of David Rickards, it could have been pretty difficult, but it wasn't in the end for him, and he's getting away. The gap is over a second now. Back to Tom Roach as they turn their way through Tower Bend. Behind it's still Ben Hansi in fourth position, is ahead of Courtney Milnes and Ben Abbott. There's a bit of a gap back to Declan McDonald, who leads the rest in P7 as the cars come down towards the Jim Clark S's on this penultimate lap of the race, Ian.
Yeah, and look at that heat haze, absolutely fantastic, isn't it? So that's Ben Hansi in fourth place, Courtney Milnes fifth, and then sixth is Ben Abbott. Declan McDonald, you can just about see poking his nose into the back of Short in the black and pink and yellow car. He's in seventh place, number 43, turning their way through the first part of Sunny and then the second part of Sunny and on to the stretch towards the complex. It's still one Ben Hansi that is at the head of this group. Best lap, still that 140.38. Ben Short, I think that was the first flying lap of the race. He's not improved on that time. And now we've got the battle for fourth having to deal with this traffic. That with the 51 car again, I think, won't it, of David Rickards, that he will need to be lapped. Meanwhile, the leaders are going on to their final lap, I can tell you, and it's Tom Roach leading still by about 7/10 of a second as they go on to the ninth and final lap of the race. But there's Ben Hansi just getting past that Rickards back marking car, Josh, as they're working the final 2.1 miles of Croft.
Yes, and it's worked all right for Ben Hansi. For Courtney Milnes, maybe not so much, because she is under intense pressure from Ben Abbott as they turn their way through. But let's look at the leaders then. We haven't seen them for a few moments. They're just spread out a little bit. Ben Short with a second or so over Tom Roach, and then in third position Mike Comber as they come down into Tower. Then this gap back to Ben Hansi, who's in fourth. He's managed to get away from Courtney Milnes, who is coming back under pressure from Ben Abbott, who she passed a couple of laps ago. They turn their way through Tower Bend. We said she got that podium at Silverstone, but I think the competition here is that a bit higher, with particularly those top three.
Yeah.
And she's doing a great job battling with championship winner Ben Hansey and Ben Abbott, who's won a lot of these races but hasn't contested a full season before now. But Abbott's right in the championship hunt this season.
Yeah, coming into the closing seconds of the times element of this race, it looks like Ben Short is heading into the complex, but are we going to get a late change here for 5th position? It looked like Ben Abbott might be about to line and move into the complex, but here's Ben Short with only a relatively small lead over Tom Roach. He's got another back marker to pass before the end of the race, which he does so now out of the final corner. So he's already won 4 races out of 5 this season. Make that 5 from 6 for Ben Short in the 2021 Switch 5 Club Racing MX-5 Cup. Over the line he goes then. Ben Short, number 71, takes the win.
Yeah, Ben Short, who's not quite as fresh-faced as he was when I spoke to him 20 minutes ago. Ben, you said you were going to improve the car after qualifying. I think you did.
Yeah, the car's definitely better. The pilot could still do with a quick talking to. I made a couple of mistakes there, and normally Tom Roach capitalises on those, or has done historically. But that was really good to have a race with Mike as well. At the start of that race, I thought I was outpaced, and then the car came to me a bit more, and I couldn't shake him though. Couldn't shake him.
But that's actually quite good news for us, because we enjoyed that battle. Talk us through the side-by-side battle you had there with Mike and with Tom as you moved up through the podium places.
Both Mike and Tom are not new to this by any means. And I remember going side by side with Tom at Cadwell up the mountain and then the whole way through Hall Bends. And I guess when you've been doing it a while and you know each other, you know, he left me enough room on the exit and I left him enough room on the apex, and it was good, clean, fair racing without any panel damage. Apart from I managed to knock my mirror off on those flappy markers down there. They're a bit stronger than last time I was here.
If that's as bad as it got, though, I don't think that's a terrible thing, is it? Championship-wise, it's looking good for you now. I think that's what your 5th win out of 6 this year. Couldn't ask for a lot more than that, really.
No, I couldn't. No, I couldn't. So, you know, it's a perfect start to the season, and we've had a few wild cards come in, both at Donington and here. So it's made the racing really good and close, and what MX-5 racing should be.
Well, you've got a few of these already, but another one to add to your collection there. Ben Short, then, the winner of our first MX-5 race of the weekend. An absolute thriller, that one. Looking forward to more of the same later this weekend.